Boom. All right, ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to discover how VECKTA is pioneering the energy transition with today's guest, the CEO from VECKTA himself. Let's get this show started. Here we go.
Shut up and sit down.
Look, a business can give you everything you want in life: prestige, wealth, freedom. It can also take everything away from you. This show is for those who are willing to take that risk. These are the real life stories of entrepreneurs. But before we start, I have one small favor to ask. Please leave a comment. It can be advice, critiques, tips, feedback, or share this with someone because your engagement is the most valuable and most powerful form of social currency. So thank you, and welcome to another episode of Business Bros. All right, Business Bros. Today we're diving into the world of energy transition with a visionary who's not just changing the game, he's setting the new standards. Leading VECKTA with a passion, embracing adventures, and pioneering change, he's a dedicated dad, a husband, and adventurer who believes in the power of collaboration and innovation. So get ready to be energized and inspired by the one and only Mr. Gareth Evans. All right, Gareth, welcome to the program. Thank you for taking time out of your day to be on the show.
What's happening? What an intro. Love it.
Thank you. Let's get into this. First question I always ask is about what you're doing. People who come on the show always have a product, a service, a business, something that they're trying to get out to the general public. What is that for you?
Yeah, we built a software platform and marketplace that helps businesses around the world to reduce their energy costs, increase their energy reliability, and reduce their emissions.
All right, we got to there's a lot that can go into that section. Break it down for me. So like if I'm a fifth grader and I'm trying to understand what you're doing for people, what is it that you do?
Yep. So today I'm a business. I currently buy energy from my local utility. I'm a passive consumer. I do not know where my energy comes from, how much it will cost on any given year. And I don't know whether it will actually show up. We're seeing increases in power outages. Businesses have suffered $150 billion worth of lost revenue in the last year alone as a result of outages. Rates are going up between 3 and 30% year on year. And so businesses have the opportunity to manage this risk and turn it into an opportunity by building energy solutions right at their business facility, whether that be solar, batteries, gas turbines, electric vehicle charging. We help them design the right system using our technology to meet their needs. And then we get them the best quotes from the best suppliers in the market.
Nice. Okay, so we're obviously not talking a little solopreneur doing his own thing. This person that you're looking for, there's certain criteria to make this an ideal customer for you anyways. Who's this ideal customer that you're looking for?
Yeah, perfect customer is American corporate with facilities locally, regionally, all around the world. We've worked on everything from self-storage businesses and wineries and breweries right up to the most complex manufacturing facilities, mine sites, oil and gas assets.
Now, when people get into business, oftentimes some of these types of revenue generating aspects of business don't really come to light right away. They're things that somebody's going to come in looking from the outside in to say, hey, by the way, did you know XYZ? What are some of the things that you notice in an industry or in a company where maybe they're looking at their finances, maybe they're looking at their P&L, it is tax time, and maybe they could find an opportunity there that they may not realize is even there?
Yeah, you're absolutely spot on, especially now with the Inflation Reduction Act here in the US. Businesses can get between 30 and 50 cents on the dollar back in terms of tax credits for every dollar spent on these systems. So for any business with a tax burden, there's huge opportunities for them to offset that and gain the business benefits of having an on-site energy system.
Now, a lot of these places, maybe they don't own the building that they're in or the facility that they work out of. They might be leasing the place. Is this something that they can do internally, like as a leasehold improvement, maybe upon the parking lot? What's usually some of the obstacles that you find that people may have in their mind that they think are obstacles, but you guys kind of solved and made it so that it becomes an asset for that company?
Yeah, it's definitely easier if they own the asset, the building or the facility. And yes, by investing in this energy asset, it's a it's a facility that's going to last them for anywhere between 10 and 25 years. So being able to lock in your energy costs today and ride that instead of navigating unknown escalations. For businesses that lease the premises, they can refer us to their landlord, or they can do things that are more flexible, like maybe installing a battery. They can pick that up and take it with them versus going through the effort of installing solar on the roof or in a car park through fixed assets. You've got the ability to move some of these facilities. So anything's on the table, but ideally it's always easiest if they own the facility for sure.
Let me get a little bit of background on you. I mean, how long were you in this industry beforehand? How did you get to where you are today? I know it's probably a long story, but give me a little bit of backstory of who you are and how did you get here?
Yeah, whirlwind tour. Wanted to be a fast jet pilot, studied environmental science. The flying didn't work out. Spent 3 years with the Air Force, going through university, traveled the world, found that my expertise was useful to the oil and gas industry. So spent 15 years in the largest energy engineering firm in the world, Worley. Traveled from Canada to the Middle East to Australia to the US, supporting commercial industrial businesses around the world to design, build, and operate their facilities. For me, the energy component came in. I spent 2 years in Iraq after the Gulf War, supporting the industry to move into the region. And it became very apparent to me that we were unlocking the biggest oil and gas reserves in the world, and yet the local populace were surviving on 2 hours of power a day. And we are all now reliant on infrastructure that is aging. There's single points of failure, and we need a more resilient, affordable, clean energy future. So that kind of set the mission in progress.
Now, you have a military background, so running a business, I feel, is always a little bit easier when you have a military experience. You have a lot of standard operating procedures that kind of help you, or if they're not there, you develop them so that they are in place. How has your military background, or how's your experience in the past kind of helped you when going into work now with VECKTA and growing this company?
Yeah, I think actually it really helped. I was a volunteer reserve pilot with the Air Force for 3 years. So, and then spent many years with, the reserves and things. So I do have experience in the military from that perspective, but not from an operating perspective. And then I think combine that with them being in a large corporate for so many years, I got to see what it takes to run a big business. I think for me, though, I'm a bit more maverick in nature, and I believe in having processes when they're needed and necessary, but also then providing the flexibility and the agility before that point to make sure we get stuff done really quickly, efficiently, to meet everyone's needs and objectives. And so it's constantly a tug of war. I don't necessarily enjoy process and procedure, but I know it's a necessary evil sometimes.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
What about your excuse me, what about your choice to be an entrepreneur? I mean, you had a military background, you were in corporate for a long time, you could have had a successful career, either one of those paths that you took, yet you decided to take the probably most riskiest, dangerous path forward, which is becoming an entrepreneur. Why make that choice, and what has it done for you?
Yeah, this wasn't a something that I necessarily planned, and it got to a point where I was getting frustrated in the large business world, and I saw that we could make a huge impact by going it alone through starting a startup. And so it aligned with the mission and the purpose, and I couldn't have achieved that in any other setting in the world. And so having the ability to create an independent business that represents the customer's best interests to navigate a very complex industry was super exciting to me. And being able to do that with awesome people and now being backed by some incredible investors, it's been a wild ride, but it certainly has been a wild ride. It's not been easy, but I love every day.
Technology has been advancing at, phenomenally fast rates in almost every sector. And I've noticed that as technology kind of improves, things tend to get smaller, faster, better. But I still see a lot of large solar panels going up on roofs. Where's the advancement in technology there? Where are we seeing things kind of improve, get faster, and get smaller? But yet we still have large panels kind of going on roofs. Can you kind of help clarify what's going on in the industry and what people kind of can look forward to when thinking about opening this door?
Yeah, it's mostly in cost and efficiency. Honestly, I think the cost of batteries and solar panels have reduced 80% in the last 10 years. So that's making them far more affordable and accessible to many more people and businesses. In terms of the efficiency side, definitely batteries have got hugely efficient. Lithium ion is definitely the technology mostly used today. Solar panels, they're kind of tapped out in that 19 to 20% efficiency range right now. So I don't think we're necessarily going to see, major changes in the size and scale of the panels per se, but they're just getting more cost effective, which makes the business case more attractive for people.
Now, batteries are huge. I mean,
Yeah.
we're living in some treacherous times. There's all kinds of fears of everything happening around the world, financial things happening, all kinds of stuff that we're living in fear of, and making sure that we have power is one of those things that we want to have in case shit hits the fan. Essentially,
Yep.
now you're working on the corporate side, but it also is important to have that type of stability and security on your own thing. And batteries are to me, one of the big parts of going energy independent, because having solar and having those types of things are great. But if you're pumping it back into the grid, it doesn't really help you when things go bad. Having those battery packs and self-sustaining systems are going to allow you to move forward when things aren't moving forward for everybody else. When you talk to clients, how much of it is self-sustained within the industry and how much of it is just for cost-effective maneuvers like reversing stuff back into the grid?
Yeah, I think certainly even now, where we're both based in California, the utility tariffs don't really support you just doing solar alone anymore. You don't get compensated very well for that. And then to your point, in terms of having energy resilience and security, the number of outages are increasing in frequency and severity more and more. And so we're seeing a lot more businesses taking note of that. I think the biggest recent example was the big refinery for BP up in Chicago. It was down for 3 weeks, and you're talking about millions and millions of dollars in production loss, and then the knock-on effects of then the local populace not having access to petrol that was cheap enough. So there's lots and lots of impacts from being unsafe through to massively impacting your business financials. And so people are realizing one outage, they could have actually paid for an entire on-site energy system to prevent this from happening. And yes, batteries are a huge component of that. They allow you to store the energy and use it when you need it, or use it when utility rates are at the most expensive, so you can cut your costs. That's the real opportunity here.
Where do you see the future of our current electrical grid? I mean, I've heard it over and over again. I'm not in that space, so I don't know how accurate it is, but I hear how antiquated it is, how old it is, how unstable it is for the massive amounts of power that we're trying to generate for different populous areas. So where do you see the future of the grid as more and more people are moving towards solutions like what your company offers, where we have our own batteries, where we can store our own energy? What's the future of the grid?
Yeah, we believe in the democratization of energy. Today, we're all dependent on the central grid, which, to your point, is between 30 and 100 years old in some cases. And so are you willing to rely on infrastructure that is that old and on a provider that is incentivized to spend more money and pass that cost on to you through your rates? Or do you want to take control of your energy future? And so I think we're going to shift from this passive consumer mentality today to them being active users and generators of energy. And in the future, being able to actually transact that energy between ourselves. So I may be able to generate a bit more than yourself. You can't generate enough to meet your needs. I can very cheaply transact that with you, or share it, or donate it, or, there's going to be lots of ways that we'll be able to become more prosumer orientated. And that'll be super exciting, because then you don't need the big transmission lines. You need a really good distribution infrastructure to help us all share it. But it becomes a lot more flexible, a lot more agile. It's quicker to build. It's more affordable. The grid today is served us really well, but it's not going to serve us really well for the next 100 years.
Most entrepreneurs have a vision of where they want their company to be when they start it, and then where it's going. And along the way, even if they got a plan, things don't always go to plan. There's always makeshift things that happen, mistakes, life in general. What are some of the mistakes that you've seen along the way as you were building this company that were ultimately some of the greatest lessons that you may have learned?
Yeah. Yeah. Candidly, one of the biggest challenges was as we launched, COVID kicked off. And so we kind of hunkered down and we tried to build our product in isolation because we couldn't speak to customers at the time. And then we came to market and tested it and realized that people do not want to be hands-on tools trying to design their own energy systems. They just want the answers. They want the outcomes. And so that was a massive lesson learned is people don't want to go hunting for data. They don't want to be figuring out whether they need solder or batteries. They want to be told by a trusted entity, here is the right solution for you, and here's how you go and get it. And so that really allowed us to then pivot and design a B2B enterprise platform that did all the heavy lifting for the customer, gave them all the insights, intelligence, customized data, give them the outcomes without them needing to be energy experts. They just want to focus on running their business. So massive lesson learned. We probably lost a bit of time, but it was kind of a very challenging time for all of us. My vision for VECKTA, to your question around that, I want every business leader in the world to think about VECKTA when they think about energy, and we'll help them go on this journey and turn risk into opportunity.
Not being an expert means that I have to have a way to monitor and track whatever it is almost as quickly as I can, like on my phone. And I think of the Nest, for example, in a house, right? You pop the app open, you know what the temperature is in the house. You can start the AC, you can start the heater if you needed to. You can close, lock one door, all these different things. That dashboard has to be as user friendly as possible. When companies come to work with you, on top of learning about the hardware, what about the software side of things? Is there something that they can look to kind of understand the benefits of what they're buying?
Yep. Yeah. So our platform allows them to, whether they've got 5 sites or 1,000 sites, load in every address. We help them very quickly prioritize where they get the greatest return on investment. We then configure the systems, considering all technologies, and then design the business case such that they can see, here's the opportunity, here's the cash flow analysis, return on investment, payback period, all the intelligence they need to want to go and do this. And then we've built the infrastructure for them to get the quotes from the market. And then once the system's built, we make sure we monitor and verify that it performs as promised. And that's all in an interactive software-enabled platform. And so, yeah, to your point, how do we make it super easy, super accessible, simple, enjoyable, and not overwhelming? Because everyone's got a lot on their plates and they do not want to be energy experts, but they are now going from a point of having never looked at an energy bill ever and just having it on auto pay to now going, holy moly, it just doubled in the last year. Like, this is massively impacting my business. I now need to do something about it.
Yeah, even on the residential side, I mean, I love running my AC, and that was one of the reasons why I was like, holy crap, I do not want to pay this bill every single month. What can I do to solve this problem? And I feel like for the most part, having energy efficiency, having control over your energy is definitely giving you a competitive advantage against other people in your industry, mainly because you can operate when they can't, right? And that's one of the biggest aspects, not to mention the fact that you're saving money because your energy, I mean, is literally kept in-house, and you can monitor when you want to use stuff on peak levels or whatnot, like we kind of discussed. But there are a lot of companies out there that are helping out in the energy space. That competition is fierce when it comes to your industry. How do you guys stand out? What makes you, there's a reason why customers come to you. Why are they coming to you specifically? What is it that you do best?
Yeah, there's a lot of amazing providers in the market. All those providers are selling a specific solar solution, a battery solution, a specific gas turbine. They will always try and sell you what they offer. We are one of the few providers in the market that represent the buyer's best interests. So we ensure that you are buying the right solution for you, and then we bring the suppliers to you versus the other way around. Everyone's getting smashed today by people knocking on the door trying to sell them their panels, their batteries, and they don't know who to trust. They don't know who to move forward with. That indecision leads to inaction, and that's no good for anyone. So we want to originate projects for the buyers, offer them to the suppliers, and then everyone wins together. And then the more systems we build, the cheaper they get, the more accessible they get to more companies. So our process is all about driving cost out of the entire ecosystem.
Yeah, I heard this saying a long time ago. When a customer tells you no, it's not usually no, it's KNWO. It's just that they don't know enough, right? And
Yeah,
to make an informed decision. And I think that's actually factually correct when it comes to the solar industry. We usually say no to the guy knocking on the door, regardless of what he's selling.
yeah,
Even if it's something that can be beneficially useful in our household, something that can save us a couple bucks. We just don't want to be sold. But if we can give us the information that we're looking for, and in your case, it sounds like you're my co-pilot here. You're
yeah,
helping me navigate this process. You're helping me learn about what I actually need. And then when it comes time to buy that stuff, you're sending me, look, here are a couple vendors, and it's not just one. Here's a number of different vendors that help with this. Here's a number of different vendors that help with this. This is what they're going to do in this particular part of the game plan. This is the other part of the game plan. You're literally helping me lay out all the chess pieces so I can strategically move forward.
yeah.
Um,
You're
what do
spot
you?
on.
Yeah.
And actually,
Okay.
I'd just
Go
add
for it.
to it, what's even more exciting and most businesses don't realize is there are suppliers in the market that actually want to pay for the system, build it, operate it, and just sell you the energy. And so you actually don't have to spend a penny. You can get these solutions and you can lock in a cost for the next 20 years versus running the utility rate gauntlet. And most people don't realize that that option exists, but there's a huge amount of capital that wants to invest in. You used the term asset before because these are assets. They're great.
No, you're absolutely right. And that's the thing about having such a competitive industry. This energy market is huge, and it's huge
Yeah,
for a reason, because we all need to turn the lights on when we want to flip the switch. At the end of the
exactly.
day, that's what it comes down to. So there are a number of companies out there that are trying to make it a reality and are willing to lay the capital up front to help you put a system in place, because they know the cash flow from that energy is going to be ongoing for life, pretty much,
That's
as
right.
long as we maintain those systems. Now, the thing that I love what you guys are doing is you were listening to your clients, right? You're listening to your customers, figuring out what it is that they need, and then finding those solutions. And I feel like almost every entrepreneur, no matter how big their company gets, they're always trying to find ways to become more efficient, to become more profitable, to help bring more value to the end consumer, because at the end of the day, that's how they succeed. So what do you feel you're trying to improve upon right now to help bring a better customer experience for your clients, maybe a better price point for your clients? How you trying to improve at the moment?
Yep. So I think everyone has become very comfortable using technology to get better outcomes, whether it's using Expedia to book your holiday, Airbnb to book your hotel, Amazon to do your shopping. The energy industry hasn't caught up to that. It's still very service led, it's still very manual, it's very complex, it's very overwhelming. And the barrier to entry up until now has been extremely expensive. You know, you'd have to, as a business, go and hire a consultant and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars, to get these sort of answers. So we've automated all of that process. We've removed the noise out of the system. We generate those insights, that intelligence, the customized data and solutions for our customers such that they can um, move forward with confidence and actually know that they've got a plan for the next, couple of decades, because things are going to change with time. Every month, every year, technology prices are changing, utility tariffs are changing. So they need a dynamic platform that is acting as, to your commentary before, their co-pilot to take them on this journey, because it's not a one and done. This is going to be ongoing and opportunistic.
Yeah, and I wish it was a one and done. It just doesn't work that way,
Yeah.
unfortunately. So if people want to reach out, Gareth, if they want to find out more, they're like, look, my business needs some extra revenue coming in. I need to lower my bills. My AC, my electric bills are ridiculous. I need help, or at least someone to help me understand this. How
Yep.
can they do that?
Yeah, they can hit me up on LinkedIn is where I'm most prevalent. Look up for Gareth Evans in VECKTA. We actually have our own podcast as well, Renewable Rides, which they may want to check out if they want to learn more. And then, our website, www.veckta.com, is a wealth of knowledge and resources for people to learn more.
Perfect, man. So tell me a little bit about the podcast really quick. I always find it fascinating when people have them, because to me, it's been one of the best prospecting tools I've ever come across.
Really?
Prospecting and branding, it's been phenomenal for that. What's your experience been like so far?
You've got a very unique style, so I see how it works really well for you. Yeah, we realize that for our buyers, education and awareness is the biggest barrier to them moving forwards. And so we wanted to provide content that they could easily digest and start to learn about the industry without it being complex and overwhelming. So we alternate between a internal dialogue between myself and members of our team. Me and Dan Roberts, who's our head of sales, we co-host it. And then every in between podcast, we interview someone in the industry and learn from their experiences and their expertise. So yeah, it's been really enjoyable. I love it. It gives me a lot of energy, and hopefully people gain a lot of value from it.
And that's the key, right? How do I bring the most value as much as I possibly can? And literally you talking about that in your industry, like if you're not in the solar space, it's probably not going to be the most interesting, but if you are, these are the people, the movers and shakers, the ones who have ideas, the things that are changing. Like that's the excitement. Everybody in every industry has an avenue that they can go to. And it sounds to me like VECKTA is one of the leading people in this industry, not only in what you're doing, but how you're doing it and providing the information to the general public. So ladies and gents, website scrolling across the bottom, VECKTA.com, VECKTA.com. You can follow Gareth on LinkedIn. His at symbols at Gareth-Evans. You can find him on LinkedIn there if you guys have any questions. Gareth, thank you very much for coming on the program. Ladies and gentlemen, the sun is shining and it's some great vitamin D, but it can also fuel some battery cells to help you do the work that you need to do. If you need help getting that squared away, make sure you guys go to VECKTA.com. Gareth, thank you very much for joining us. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace. And we're out.
It's over. Go home.
Is your business in need of marketing? Try starting a podcast, but not just any podcast. Podcast like a pro.